right, I'd like to show you how to make a Passover sponge cake. Passover sponge cake uses eggs as its leavening agent. I've already separated a dozen eggs. I have my egg whites in my bowl, and here are the egg yolks. And it uses potato starch, cake meal, sugar, and orange juice. What I'd like to do is show you, this is the recipe card that I use. You can see that it is old and tattered, and yes, I do have it written nice and neat, but somehow it just doesn't taste the same if I don't use this original one that I have, that I've had for quite a long time. Now, to adjust for high altitude baking, I either decrease my egg yolk by 1 using 11 egg yolks to 12 egg whites, or I add an extra egg white. So I'm going to show you, or try to show you, how to separate egg yolks from the egg white. Okay, so you take your egg. You always want to separate your egg whites, your eggs one at a time. This way, in case you should get any yolk in the white, you can discard the white, because egg whites do not whip up very nicely if there's any egg yolk in it. Just so you know that it is easier to separate egg whites when the eggs are cold, but egg whites will whip better at room temperature. So it's going to get a little noisy here as I turn on my KitchenAid to whip up the egg whites. Once the egg whites start getting a little foamy, you could add a little bit of the sugar, but not all of it. You want to whip your egg whites until they come to a stiff peak. how do you tell whether or not it's stiff enough? And it's still not, it's still running, so we're going to whip it a little bit longer. Hold on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, now that my egg whites have gotten to where I want them to, if you have a second bowl for your KitchenAid or whatever you're using, and this is what it looks like, nice and stiff. You can just swap out your bowls, but since my second bowl is not with me today, I'm going to transfer the egg whites into a separate bowl or container. Right now I'm using my Dutch oven because I have it handy. Get out as much as the meringue as you can, but it's okay to leave some behind. Put your beater back in. Now you're going to take your egg yolks, put them back in the bowl, the bowl that you use for your egg whites. And you're going to beat these until these are nice and fluffy. At this point, you would want to add in your orange juice. And you want to beat for about a minute or so until the egg yolks get nice and airy. They will not whip up stiff like the egg whites. The secret to a sponge cake that will stay nice and high is that you want to incorporate your egg yolks into your egg whites very carefully. I've had success adding the egg whites a little at a time into the egg yolk mixture and then lightly folding in the dry ingredients. So we're going to do that right now. And I found that if you put in some egg whites and then some of the dry ingredients, which is the potato starch and the cake meal, and fold it in very gently, will usually yield a good result. Once everything is incorporated, you want to gently fold in the rest of your egg white mixture. And sometimes I just hand blend in the KitchenAid bowl as not to deflate it too bad. That's what I'm going to do right now. Passover sponge cake is baked in an angel food pan, and I prefer the ones with the little feet. So when you hang it, so after it's baked and you hang it upside down, air can circulate underneath to help cool the cake. I'm going to show you. This is not this cake, but another cake that I've made. After you fill the angel food pan with the batter and you bake it and you hang it upside down to cool, is what you want. You want to have the height. That's when you know that you've baked a successful cake. And then when you cut into it, you have a nice even texture. This is what the batter looks like, and this is what's going to get poured into the pan to bake. You want to bake it at 325 degrees for an hour and 15 minutes. Enjoy.